Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to join you virtually. I'm John Hart from MIT, and I'm happy to tell you about our ongoing activities in manufacturing across campus and my look toward the future. As you likely know, I'm from Boston, across the pond, as we say, and if we travel via Google Earth from London to MIT, you'll see manufacturing at MIT is concentrated in a relatively unremarkable building, building number 35. But it's a place of exciting history. When Building 35 was constructed in the 1950s, down the street, MIT was building its first CNC machines, which helped revolutionize production of metal components for the aerospace industry and other uses. And over the years, MIT came to invent the first process known as 3D printing, one of many which we now call binder jetting, and now we have many startups in the area that are pushing the bounds of manufacturing in biotechnology and other areas. But I've learned along the way, MIT also studied how production has evolved. In the 1980s, looking at how the US could remain competitive against the Japanese auto industry and in other sectors, and around 2010, asking the question, is production necessary to maintain an innovative economy? And in recent years, thinking about the work of the future, how does technology shape work and how can work be designed in tandem with technology? And while manufacturing faces many critical issues, perhaps the same where you are as in the US, including the need for a better workforce, the need to be more sustainable, and much more, it's also a very exciting time. I feel that technology frames the frontier of manufacturing, and we're on the doorstep of so many exciting technologies that will shape the way things are made, including 3D printing, continued advances in electronics and photonics, flexible automation, closing the loop with new materials and recycling technologies, bio and cell-based manufacturing, and an incredible digital front end that'll let us design personalized products and simulate their performance and production ahead of time. And in the US, and perhaps in the UK, we're at an incredible time for manufacturing and its growth. Here, the federal government is aligned in support of manufacturing and industry is behind it as well. Companies such as Tesla building vast factories to build production onshore, and companies such as Apple being very serious about net zeroing their supply chains. So at MIT, I've been leading the charge, bringing faculty together and bringing a new center forward to focus on manufacturing in all its dimensions. And I'll share a few of our new activities with you. First, we're building a new set of laboratories to integrate digital manufacturing with conventional manufacturing and overlay augmented and virtual reality. This is with support of the state of Massachusetts and many companies, small to large, and our goal is to stitch these technologies together in a physical and a digital thread for our students and for our industry partners, to build new machines that merge the two techniques, and also to have a strong interface with industry, in particular aligning technology providers with users so we can understand how to drive incentives forward. We're also, led by my colleague John Liu, pioneering a program for technologist training. By technologist, we mean a degree that sits between a vocational education, a four-year degree, someone who has the critical thinking skills and data-driven mindset to make good decisions on the manufacturing floor. And this curriculum has a hub and spoke approach where we teach the core principles of manufacturing along with the application of manufacturing in one or more domains, such as CNC machining, photonics, 3D printing, or robotics. And third, we've launched a new intellectual project to chart the trajectory of digital manufacturing. This is supported by Schmidt Futures and lays out three key questions as to what the technical and economic limits of flexible and digital manufacturing are, how these technologies will redistribute value among firms, and what could restore high-value manufacturing in the US. And with these broad questions addressed by a multidisciplinary team, we are building out 4 research thrusts in 5 different contexts and that you can see at the bottom here, including advanced electronics, low-volume complex systems such as jet engines and even ships, and mass-produced consumer goods. And altogether, this leads to a definition of manufacturing where technology must be brought forward in synergy with equity, growth, and sustainability. In other words, manufacturing for a better world. Now, let me close with my own perspective on where manufacturing must be headed. And it's a perspective on digital manufacturing, which I know is a particular topic of your gathering today. Back to the first CNC machines in the 1950s here at MIT. This was actually an earlier digital transformation. It wasn't the machine tool that was unique, but it was the architecture of how machining was done, combining computation, albeit primitive by today's standards, with the hardware. And my point is, we need to go through another transformation, an architectural transformation in manufacturing systems to really bring these new technologies to the market at scale. So therefore, my question is, how do manufacturing technologies replace or displace one another? And you may think of the term disruption, coined by Professor Clayton Christensen of Harvard Business School, where he studied in the early 1990s disk drive technology, among many other technologies, and showed how evolutions of the same technology progressed upon one another in this S-curve behavior, where a second generation technology may have one particular advantage and slowly improve and displace the prior generation of technology. And this is, for instance, what, in my opinion, is happening in some areas of 3D printing. In metal 3D printing, this process called laser powder bed fusion, we're seeing machine generations evolve with one laser to many lasers, where having many lasers may initially have an inferior quality, but increase the throughput. And we're seeing slowly the process become more productive and more cost effective. But what I feel we really need is a different mindset, the mindset of architectural innovation, coined by Rebecca Henderson in 1990. And she writes that the essence of architectural innovation is the reconfiguration of established systems to link together components in a new way. It doesn't mean we're free of invention or new ideas, but the important point is the core design concept is unchanged, but we think about taking key pieces and configuring them in different ways to create big impact. And by and large, I feel that is what 4 of the most important companies of the past 20 years have done. TSMC, Apple, Amazon, and SpaceX. Incredible technology-driven companies, but they have brought about architectural innovations in production systems, in bringing information into our pockets, in delivering goods to our door, and in enabling access to space in a new way. So therefore, I believe the next generation of manufacturing will be defined by the companies that think about the architecture of our production systems, uniting cutting-edge technology with supply chains and with digital approaches to stitch the two together. And therefore, I'll leave you with this question. How could or how does digital manufacturing reshape the value chain in your industry? Taking this chart from a report from the UN Conference on Trade and Development in 2018, where we see that the value add versus the stage in the product life cycle can vary significantly depending on how we implement technology and perhaps how we implement policies within our countries and across the globe. With that, I thank you for your attention.